Hello, my name is Richard Weitz, and I am a Senior Fellow at the Hudson Institute. I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about some of the issues related to U.S. Russian relations that the next American president will have to deal with when he takes office in January 2009. One of the most important issues will be what kind of relationship the president wants to develop with his Russian counterpart. Under President Bush, there was an effort to try and deal directly with then President Vladimir Putin on the assumption that since President Putin was the most powerful person in Russia, developing a good relationship with him would assist in the broader relationship. Since this has produced mixed results, the next president will need to decide whether to pursue a similar policy with Russian President Medvedev, or perhaps try a different tack, perhaps try and develop a broad relationship with broader Russian civil society. In terms of the particular challenges facing the next president, there are several that come to mind on the American side. First, there's the whole question of how to deal with European security architecture. The Bush administration has pursued a policy of expanding NATO into former Soviet areas, deploying missile defenses in Eastern Europe, promoting democracy insofar as it's possible in the former Soviet Union, and a series of other interconnected strategies. The war in Georgia and other developments have called the applicability of this policy into question. This may be the best policy to pursue, but certainly other options present themselves. The next U.S. president will have to decide whether to continue to try and enlarge NATO. Perhaps the president may wish to delay the expansion further for a few years. The question of the missile defenses that are being planned to be deployed in Poland, Czech Republic, may need to be reconsidered. It depends somewhat on the effectiveness of technology, on the threat that might emerge from Iran, and the extent to which Russian-American negotiations on perhaps resolving some Russian security concerns can develop. The war in Georgia raises another issue: to what extent the United States is willing to intervene on behalf of former Soviet republics that find themselves in conflict with Russia. A stronger policy, a more assertive policy, could cause the Russians to be less aggressive towards their former Soviet republics, but it could produce the opposite effect, or somewhere in between. It's something the next administration will need to consider. The war in Afghanistan perhaps presents an interesting opportunity for actually some greater cooperation between the two countries. Both Russia and the United States have been very concerned with the resurgence of the Taliban. There's concern about the drug trafficking that spills over from Afghanistan into Russia and other former Soviet republics. And the Russians have periodically suggested they were eager to work with NATO in this area, and it might be, insofar as we seek to restart the relationship, a good area to start. Another issue, and I think that's the final one I'll deal with today, concerns the question of nuclear nonproliferation. Russia and the United States have had a mixed record in this. We've cooperated pretty extensively in dealing within the former Soviet Union, eliminating some of the former Soviet military systems, particularly the nuclear systems. But on some issues, such as Iran and perhaps some other areas, there's been more a conflictual relationship. Neither country wants Iran to develop nuclear weapons, but at times it appears the Russians don't consider that to be the most important aspect of the relationship. Often they seem to be interested in selling weapons to Iran or promoting their commercial, particularly energy interests in the region, or perhaps a bit of schadenfreude. I'd like to see the tension between Iran and the United States continue. The next U.S. president, insofar as Iran will likely be an important issue to deal with, particularly the country's possible nuclear aspirations, will have to consider the extent to which he will make trade-offs in other areas of the relationship in order to perhaps secure greater Russian assistance against Iran, or perhaps the president might decide this is not the most fruitful way to proceed. Thank you very much.